if you look at what happened with like Juul, one of the big vaping companies, I think Philip Morris bought like a 35% stake originally. So they kind of...
Well, Juul, if we could be as successful as Juul, we would be very happy.
Yeah.
Because that would give us enormous resources to do what we wanted.
Although I think now they're struggling with regulation, aren't they? Being banned, but I don't know if it's going to hurt them in the long run, but the flavors are banned, I think.
It's a difficult...
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. That's actually a very interesting and scientifically very unsatisfying I think the anti-vaping... Well, let me just reframe this.
How do you feel about vaping? And what's the science of vaping?
Totally in support of vaping. Absolutely. Vaping is going to be one of the great revolutions in healthcare. There's no question at all. Not at all. But...
Because it takes away the combustibility, which is where all the carcinogens come and all the danger.
I mean, my charity did the first systematic analysis of the harms of vaping compared with cigarettes, and we concluded they were 25 times less harmful. And others have done similar analysis and confirmed that. But the problem is this, and Public Health England has endorsed it. Public Health England support what we've said. They've used our data. In Wales, you can prescribe e-cigarettes for people with chronic bronchitis to stop them smoking because it improves their lung function. But the problem is in America. And in America, as you probably know, it's a country of opposites. And you've got some brilliant scientists, but you've got an awful lot of people in America who are still of the Puritan disposition, and a lot of them have received vast amounts of money from governments to attack tobacco. So there's a anti-tobacco lobby, which is full of, again, actually intelligent people who've fought for decades to try to bring the tobacco companies, cigarette companies, to the table to get retribution for the harms they've caused. And they were partially successful. They did. I mean, I think the companies had to pay out vast amounts of money to every state for the harm. But that settlement had a sting in its tail because the settlement effectively stops any further attack on cigarettes. They pay their dues, and there are some constraints to some extent about advertising, but you can no longer sue them for ill health. So you've got all these people, this army of anti-tobacco people to campaign for tobacco-free kids, etc. And these are businesses. I mean, these are huge research businesses. And they've got to attack something because that's what they do. So they turned on vaping because it's easy. It's small companies, not a lot of science. And they've started creating this. And I think that Juul, to some extent, were party to this. And I think I don't like the way vaping began to be advertised as sexy and fashionable for young people. I think Juul were at fault there. That was a mistake. Yeah. But the attack on vaping is way beyond that, and it's become now a religion. I had literally yesterday. I had an exchange with The Economist and an exchange with the Sunday Times, because there are a group of people in America, most of whom aren't even sort of scientists. They don't know anything about pathology, who are campaigning bitterly against vaping and saying, that our evidence is wrong because we're wrong, and they're doing it, I think, because they believe that vaping will lead to young people smoking. But all the evidence shows that vaping leads to young people not smoking. So you can see, as vaping in America has gone up, young people smoking has gone down. So it's kind of it's implausible that vaping leads to smoking. My fear is this. If vaping gets banned, and actually, if just flavors get banned, I bet what you're going to see is this. You're going to see vaping go down and cigarette smoking go up. I bet that's what you're going to see. And I'll be very sad if that happens, but I suspect that will happen.
Interesting. I appreciate your assessment. It's interesting because every time I hear some article in the States about the bad vaping, it always seems like one case somewhere that hurts someone's lungs. It just seems like a few of these taste things, and then all of a sudden everything's getting banned because of it.
Because there's hysteria.
Yeah, exactly.
And because because the American approach to drugs is the same as the British. It's about banning.
Right.
But then there's also this sort of conspiracy theories. Well, the tobacco companies were quite like to get them banned anyway, but not now. Now they've bought Juul. So it's a really interesting, in terms of the sort of the politics and the anthropology of science and health. The vaping thing is an amazing story. But the problem is, because America is so powerful, that the American lobbyists control the WHO. So there are countries in the world now where you cannot sell vapes, but you can advertise cigarettes. Now, there's no way in which anyone could ever say that vaping was worse than cigarettes. But in India, people are in prison for selling vapes, but you can advertise cigarettes. Many countries in the world, about 5 or 6 now, have banned vaping, even though they completely allow cigarettes. The WHO yesterday, this is where I've been in the dialogue, the WHO yesterday put out a paper, and this is outrageous. They put out a report with the title, "Is Vaping More Harmful Than Cigarettes?" Question mark. I mean, that is designed, and their answer is we don't know, but we do know. But their answer is we don't. But that question is designed to make people think it is. I mean, it's disgusting.
Clickbait's in papers now.
Absolutely. Outrageous.
Yeah, and it's become very political in America where, Trump bans and this governor bans and they get a political boost.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Democrats want to ban, and yet more people will turn back to smoking. And the worst thing of all, and this is actually this is really active this week, because today, on the way here, I saw that CDC in America has at last come out and said the episode of lung problems was not due to e-cigarettes. They've just come out and said that. We knew it couldn't be. We knew it was always going to be THC. And we knew that the ones that weren't THC were in states where it was illegal to smoke THC, so that people wouldn't admit to smoking THC. And the CDC have dragged their heels because I think they've been pressured by the Senate, but eventually they've come out and said, no, that episode, that peak of those people with lung problems, it was all smoking THC that was put into something called vitamin E acetate. It was all illegal. It was all black market.
Yeah.
And and they want to ban vaping. It would be like saying, "Oh, we're going to ban paracetamol because people are dying of black market fentanyl." I mean, it was.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome to the machine, David. How can people donate to Imperial College? How can people help you with your research? All of that. What's the best way to do it?
Well, you can. If you want to donate, we'll always be happy to take support from me. You can go on the website. You can send me an email. We'll be very grateful to have support.
Good. And I know also Robin is doing some studies where they're looking for people to fill out surveys about.
Yes, it's a very important point. Those of you who are interested in in self-experimentation, in personal growth, if you're going to a ceremony in Britain or overseas, log onto the website, fill out your forms beforehand, because we're looking to. We never do systematic experiments on people. So many people doing these trips. But if you can fill out the scores before and after, it helps us get insights into what's happening.
Yeah, and this is so they can just have some really broad statistical feedback from people without having to have specific experiments. So you can get a lot of data.
We can get a lot of data very quickly. And that's been very helpful, actually. One of the reasons we're confident in going into the psychiatric disorders we're thinking of going into is because we do get these anecdotal reports from these questionnaires that people actually do have found them beneficial.